Welcome to another episode of Crawfordsville Connection, the City of Crawfordsville's weekly podcast that comes out every Monday morning. I'm your host, Sarah Summer, and I'm joined in the studio every week with Mayor Todd Barton to keep our community up to date on current events, city workings, and to hear from community members on a variety of topics. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope you enjoyed the show. Welcome back to another episode of Crawfordsville Connection. I'm your host, Sarah Summer, and today I'm joined in the studio by Mayor Todd Barton.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good to be here.
Good. And with us, we have Leann, Parrish, and Monica Nagele. Hello.
Good morning.
We will be talking today about the Montgomery County Leadership Academy 9/11 Day of Service. But before we get started, Mayor, do you have any announcements?
I do. I will have a community forum on Saturday, September 20th from 8 to 9 a.m. here at the mayor's office.
That's an early Saturday morning.
It is early on Saturday morning, but I had other things stacked the rest of the morning, so
Yes.
that's just the time that
Just
worked out.
makes sense.
So it's something different. We've not done an early Saturday morning
Yeah.
in a long time, so we'll try that and see how it goes.
See if we can capture a different crowd. You know, we try to spread them out, do them in different locations, different times, and
Yeah, you never know. The crowd last month was pretty rowdy.
I mean, we were quite
Yeah.
the bunch.
No, we'll just mix it up, see what happens. So yeah, something on your mind, stop by and see me.
awesome. And we'll just turn it right over to Monica and Leann. Welcome, both of you. I know you've both been on the podcast before, but for maybe our new listeners, do you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about why you're here today talking about the Day of Service?
Sure. So I'm Monica Nagele, as you said, and my hat I'm wearing today is the president of the Montgomery County Leadership Academy. And today we're here to talk about our, as you said, the 9/11 Day of Service. And the Leadership Academy has partnered with many organizations, but one of them is Wabash. And that is why Leann is here. And she's kind of been organizing the grant that we got for this Day of Service.
Yeah, so my name is Leann Parrish. I am the Community Partnerships Coordinator at Wabash College. And Wabash is a member of Community Engaged Alliance, and they offered a grant this year through 9/11 Day in AmeriCorps to increase engagement around 9/11. And so there was a grant opportunity along with that. And so when we looked at our date for the Day of Service from last year, we realized that it fell within the window of what applied for the grant, and we were able to apply for that grant and receive funding for this year's Day of Service.
Awesome. Well, before we dive into the Day of Service specifically, Monica, do you want to speak to the Leadership Academy, a little bit about the program overview and where you're at with some transition right now?
Sure. So as Sarah just alluded to, we are in a transition time. So the Montgomery County Leadership Academy has traditionally had what we call the signature program. And so it's a 12-week long class on leadership where we meet in a half a day in the afternoon. But we've kind of started to see some numbers dwindling. And so we decided it was maybe time to refocus and see what maybe new things we need to try. So for right now, our tentative plan is we're going to have a class starting up in March. And it's going to go for 6 months now instead of just 12 weeks, but we're only going to be meeting for one full day instead of 12 weeks in a row for half a day. And we're working on the curriculum. That's something that's on my to-do list on a daily basis, it seems like these days. But we're really going to be trying to focus more on the leadership. It is a community leadership program, so we're still going to have the community element to it. But we really want to focus down on those leadership pieces that people need. And so we're going to start by doing a Strength Finders assessment so that they can do a personality assessment and see where their strengths are, and then explore what behaviors you have when you're in your, as they say in Strength Finder, your balcony, and then what behaviors you have when you're in your basement. And so when you're what are your weaknesses and how do you maybe join up with some other force to help you with those weaknesses? Or how can you just be aware of that when maybe you're in your weakness and maybe what behavior might not be ideal in that situation. And then we're going to move into kind of building credibility with your team, leading a diverse team, conflict resolution, communication, all the typical community or leadership needs. But we're going to culminate it. We're going to do a community project this year. And so people who participate will be in a group where they get to practice some of those leadership skills that we've discussed, hopefully not too much conflict resolution, but you never know, and work on a community project to address some of the needs that we have here in Crawfordsville.
Awesome.
And Montgomery County as a whole. But I should plug, I just got this settled yesterday, is on October 29th and November 5th. I believe that's 2 Wednesdays. I didn't write it down to tell you because I wasn't planning on it. We're going to have some single session programs on leadership. So on October 29th, we're going to have Cassie Hagan with Wabash talking about Strength Finders. And we're going to explore what Strength Finders is. And then on the November 5th date, we're going to have Shannon Anderson kind of doing a women in leadership lesson over finding your purpose. And so we'll be getting all the details out about that soon. But like I said, I just got those dates and location finalized yesterday.
Great. And the Leadership Academy has been a part of our community for a while. Mayor, you actually went through the program yourself.
I think I was the second class.
Yeah.
Yeah. Old school.
Yeah, old school.
He's either the first or second. I think it was the second class.
Yeah.
Like in 2000, somewhere in there. So, yeah. It has. And a lot of people have gone through and done, it just equips them and prepares them to do other things.
Yeah. And something, that's important about this program as it's, leadership in all facets of life. It could be in the workforce. It could be as a volunteer in the community, in your home life, and, as a parent, as a friend, leadership comes into all pieces of life. And so that's something that the Leadership Academy is hoping to touch on too, is it's not just one piece of leadership. It's not just, as a supervisor, because we recognize not everyone has that opportunity. Not everyone is out in the community serving in different ways. And so everybody has a place in life that they can be a leader.
Absolutely. And you're right. It's not just about leadership in the workplace, but in the community, your home life, your friends, whatever. And that's why this is a community leadership program, is to help us use those leadership skills in the community. And you mentioned volunteer, and that's why we're here today. But that is also one of the goals of the Leadership Academy, is to promote volunteerism. And so we're hoping when people come into the class, they're going to learn about some of the nonprofits and people who need volunteers in our community. And then they can take those leadership skills they've learned and put them to good use, helping one of our wonderful nonprofits. And I know the mayor has a particular interest in it for some government leadership positions to fill some of those committees and
boards commissions, all those spots we need to fill.
Yeah. Well, we, like you said, we just dive right into this. The Leadership Academy has this volunteer aspect to it. And so that is why we are now in our second annual MCLA Day of Service. And this year it's the 9/11 Day of Service, because we got this grant. Let's talk about what is the Day of Service and, just all the details behind it.
Sure. So the Community Day of Service came about as kind of a fair to expose people to what volunteer opportunities are out there and needed. But we wanted people to do something. And so we made it a day of service. So last year we had 10 nonprofits accept volunteers for the day to come in and get some work done. And this year we have 15, I believe, different nonprofits participating. And so it's exciting that we got to move up numbers a little bit. And we had over 200 volunteers last year. And I think this year we have probably about 300 who have registered so far. It'll be on Wednesday, September 17th. We're going to start having a celebration at 8:30 at Pike Place. We're going to kick it off with a light breakfast, some donuts and water. The Veterans Park is going to come and present the colors, and then you'll hear some words from the mayor, and we'll take a group picture and go out and find what volunteer opportunities. And our nonprofits are going to be at Pike Place as well. So if you come at 8:30, you'll have some time to mingle around and visit with them. So even if you didn't get to your first pick when you signed up to go to an organization, you can still maybe talk to one of the other nonprofits and organizations about their volunteer opportunities.
Yeah. And this is, just meant to be the start. Don't take this as the day like, okay, we did our day of service today and that's it. The hope is that we're building relationships between the volunteers and these nonprofit organizations where they can find a place that they're passionate about, that they want to continue to give, they want to continue to serve. And that's kind of the idea behind all of this, where, like you had said, it was meant to be a fair type of thing, stop in at each table, understand what different organizations have. And, we're hoping that this builds a long-standing partnership between these volunteers and these organizations. Are we still looking for people to volunteer?
We do. We just have a few spots left. I looked right before I came this morning. The Crawfordsville District Public Library is looking for a few volunteers to help stock the shelves. They need to take books off the shelves, clean the shelves off, and put the books back on. And ASI is looking for some volunteers. They have 2 different opportunities there. They're looking for some people to come and do a cooking class or art projects with their constituents that they have there at ASI, as well as they need some help doing some grounds cleanup in their greenhouse. But other than that, our spots are pretty much filled.
That's awesome.
I did actually notice a couple others as I scanned beforehand. So I want to bring
some
those.
people back out.
I think so, because they were further down on the list. Volunteers for Mental Health still had 3 openings. There is still need for 1 reader at Newmarket Elementary School, and 2 spots are available at Kids Closet to organize and sort clothes.
Okay. So if you're hearing this, definitely check out the website. You can find that on the Montgomery County Leadership Academy's Facebook page, the City of Crawfordsville's Facebook page, Wabash. We've all shared that link to be able to sign up, and we'll post that in the show notes as well. So you can click that link and look to see if there are still opportunities to sign up to volunteer. Do we want to talk about what organizations we do have participating, both as volunteers, but also the nonprofit organizations who are accepting those volunteers?
Sure. So I said we had 15 nonprofits that were participating. So we mentioned a few already that we're looking for some, but others that are participating is Pam's Promise, the Crawfordsville Park and Rec, Friends of Sugar Creek, Animal Welfare League, Kids Against Hunger, where you can come and pack food,
the Family Crisis Shelter, the Master Gardeners. Southmont High School is accepting volunteers for cleaning up around their stadium. Who else is?
I think Grace and Mercy.
Yes, Grace and Mercy Food Pantry.
And I think that pretty much covers them. I'm looking at my list. Oh, Crawfordsville Adult Resource Academy is another one that's participating. They're making a move, and so they're looking for some volunteers to help with their movement to their new location.
Yeah. And this, I think, it shows there's a good variety too for people who are looking for different types of volunteerism, anything from reading to the elementary schools to physical work, doing grounds cleanup and, moving items. Like there is a little bit of everything for people who have different needs or different interests.
Oh, yeah. 2 additional locations are the Parks and Rec departments accepting volunteers, as is Crawfordsville Main Street, but both of those are filled.
Perfect. Well, Mayor, when you're hearing this and you hear all the different organizations, over 300 people looking to volunteer, why is volunteerism important in a community like ours?
Well, we said for a long time, and this was part of our stellar vision all those years ago, that there are so many people in this community who want to help and do good things. Sometimes they don't know where to start, really. And this is a great segue and a great opportunity for them to explore that. People want to give of their time and talents, and they have so many different talents out there in our community. People can do all kinds of things. So this really opens the door for them. And so you're right, it's not just about that day. It's how can they explore the options that are out there if they want to volunteer and help in our community. I think the other thing is that, in a community our size, you can really make a difference. You can volunteer and you can see the results of what you're doing. You can actually make a difference right here in our community. And then lastly, I would just add that, we hear a lot right now. There's a lot of noise in the world around us. There's a lot of turmoil in the world around us. And I'm really proud of the fact that in our community, we can stay focused, right? And we can be different. And this is a great way to do that. If you are frustrated, if you're angry, whatever, those emotions run, the range, but you can focus that into something positive and make our community even better by giving of your time and talent for a few hours. And I think this is our chance to come together as a community and say, hey, we are different here.
Yeah.
We're all going to work side by side, even if we have different beliefs. We're going to work side by side to make Crawfordsville, Montgomery County the best it can be.
Right.
And we're all here together collectively as one to do that.
Yeah.
And the timing probably couldn't be better.
Yeah. And I think one thing that's really exciting this year is looking over the variety of industrial and corporate partners that are involved. It's a huge increase from last year. And so I made a quick list of some of the organizations sending volunteers, and I didn't know all the specific names of which organization they were associated with. But we have members from State Farm, the Chamber of Commerce, Wabash College, Valley Professionals Health Center, City of Crawfordsville, Banjo Corps, Temper Sealy, Economic Development, Humans United for Equality, the Crawfordsville Family Vet, the Youth Service Bureau, Tri-County Bank, West Central CTE, CEL&P, Through the Gate, Lakeside Book Company, North Montgomery's Key Club, and the Crawfordsville High School volleyball team are all sending groups this year. And I think that's incredible to see how much they are ready and willing to give back. And the leadership of their organization is encouraging community involvement.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we've talked about this being the 9/11 Day of Service, and, it is on the 17th, so not to be confused, obviously. Leann, do you want to give a little bit of background on what the 9/11 Day is and why this grant has helped us put this event on?
Yeah, I had actually never heard of the 9/11 Day organization before this grant opportunity became available. But what I learned is that it is the largest day of service in America with more than 30 million volunteers participating across the country. And this can happen 2 weeks before or 2 weeks after the day of 9/11. And it was developed by David Payne and Jay Winnick to take back the day, thinking about the sense of community that followed the attacks on 9/11. And they wanted something good to come from the loss of so many lives and the tragedy, including Jay's younger brother, Glenn. He was a firefighter and was killed responding at the World Trade Center. And so the idea really did just come back from taking back the day and turning the anniversary of 9/11 into a day of doing good and to spread positivity throughout our communities.
Yeah, absolutely. And this grant that we were awarded, we're utilizing that to help support the organizations in our community and make this event successful. How are we utilizing those to support some of those projects?
Yeah, so everybody who participates in the Day of Service, well, a limited number, receives either a t-shirt or a sticker saying that they volunteered. But our organizations were able to submit a grant if maybe they had projects that needed done but didn't have the funding to complete those grants. So Monica was really great about writing a letter to the organizations who are participating, inviting them to apply for these mini grants. We were able to give some funding to every organization who requested funding. There's nobody who went completely unfunded who made a request, which I think that's really exciting. We maybe weren't able to fully fund their request, but we were able to give them a donation of some sort. So we're assisting in purchasing the food items for Kids Against Hunger. We're purchasing paint for the playground equipment in Waveland through Waveland Strong. The Boys and Girls Club is getting some paint and shelving units. We're also doing shelving units for Kids Closet and Volunteers for Mental Health because they have so many donations that need organized, but they don't necessarily have a way to store them. And so we're assisting in not only providing the human resources to organize these items, but giving them a way to store them and have a way of consistently maintaining their spaces.
Absolutely. And other organizations are also participating through kindness campaigns and, writing letters. And do you want to talk a little bit about what that is?
Yeah. So one thing that's really cool about 9/11 Day, and if you go to 911day.org, so it's 911.org, they have toolkits for different community organizations. And so I've sent them out. There are government toolkits, there are school toolkits, there are nonprofit toolkits. And within the toolkit for that day, it gives them ideas of ways that they can participate, even if they're not getting off their location. So when I reached out to the administrators at the school corporations throughout Montgomery County, I shared the toolkit with them, but I also highlighted, I have an intern from Crawfordsville High School. Shout out to Zoe Abbott. But she helped me kind of highlight some things that might really speak to the students in our county and do a good deed challenge or integrate it into your classroom lessons that day. Do a letter writing campaign either to people in nursing homes or thanking our firefighters and first responders and police departments or public servants. Encouraging a fundraiser or collection drive because we do have so many places that are accepting donations here in Montgomery County. So those are things that they can do at their school. And when I reached out to those administrators, I let them know, please share with us if you have students who are volunteering that day and doing kindness campaigns or doing good within their school building. And we will make sure that they are given a sticker to recognize their volunteerism, but also include those in our numbers that we have so many people across Montgomery County who are wanting to build a sense of community
Mhm.
and assist in supporting the needs of the people around us.
Absolutely. And you mentioned, thanking the firefighters. We have Crawfordsville Fire Department that will have a table set up at Pike Place talking about the importance of donating blood, how that impacts, we have our whole blood program. And then also, the connection with 9/11 and the importance of having that donated blood to save lives. And so they'll be there sharing some of the information. And I know they're excited to participate in that, getting that education out there, promoting it. And in the past, last year, we did a blood drive, and it was hard to get people to donate blood, then go try to do service. And so instead of setting up a separate blood drive, we've instead decided to just encourage people to donate blood on their own time, searching for that on Versity's website through the American Red Cross. And finding opportunities to do that in their own time. And so the fire department will be taking lead on that. Mayor, as former fire chief, what does it mean to you to see this day connected to honoring the legacy of first responders and turning the day into something positive?
It's very powerful. And, when I think back going through that at the time, I was actually on duty on September 11th, 2001 as a firefighter. And, what happened in Crawfordsville was interesting because we were watching everything unfold, on the East Coast. But in a 24-hour period, we had zero emergency responses and 911 calls in Crawfordsville, Indiana.
Wow.
That hadn't happened in years, right?
Wow.
And it's because everybody was just immobilized, watching what was happening. And I was at Station 2 on the east side of Crawfordsville. Then we had traffic backed up for over a mile with people trying to get to the gas stations, things like that. But, coming through that and experiencing that, and then experiencing what happened afterwards, and that sense of unity in our country and in our community and how we came together, we've lost that. We've clearly lost our way, and it's become a distant memory. So anything we can do to try to bring that back. And now we're working with younger generations that didn't experience that, didn't go through it. So how can we bring that sense of community and unity back together? This is the perfect way to try to do that, I think. I'm deeply concerned that we have lost the lessons that we learned through September 11th, both as a community, as communities in general, but also I think for me, for emergency services, I absolutely know we've lost the lessons that we learned. We fundamentally changed how we did business after 9/11. And I spent a lot of time working on that. I was an instructor on part of that with incident management. And we've lost all those lessons. All the people who learned those lessons have aged out, right? And so we've lost all of that. So those things are concerning to me. But, as a community, I think this is a perfect way for us to try to recapture that sense of coming together. And hopefully it reaches people, hopefully that they experience that. And especially, as I said earlier, right now, there's a lot of emotion in our country. And the more we can do to be different in Crawfordsville and Montgomery County, we need to do that.
Absolutely. And I think that's a perfect opportunity for us to talk about how can the community get involved, especially beyond the day of service. Where can they look for these opportunities to volunteer? How do they, come together? What can the Leadership Academy do to help them find their way?
Sure. I just got chills listening to the mayor talking about 9/11. And I just think, too, that when we're out here on the day of service and looking out over the 200 to 300 people who have gathered to give to our community, it gives me chills, too. We have people gather for concerts, and that's great and wonderful. But everybody's going to be there just to give to their community for no other reason than that. And it's just incredible to see. And we were talking about nonprofits needing people to volunteer, and they do. But we need to remember, too, that what nonprofits need is your time, talent, and money. And so if you don't have the time, maybe you have a talent that you can give to one individual project. So a lot of our boards are looking for people to be on their board, and maybe you don't have the time for that, but you have the talent to give to making a garden that's needed for whatever these people, what group is doing, or painting as we're doing in these days, or maybe you have the funds to be able to help them support that project. And so I just want to make sure that we understand that when we're giving back to our community, it's not solely sitting on a board and giving our time.
Right.
We can give in many ways. But as far as how you can find those opportunities, the Leadership Academy does have a Facebook page. The Montgomery County Leadership Academy volunteer page is what it's called, where we try to post what people have available to them. So when organizations post out there, hey, we need volunteers for this, we try to share that there. And I'm not going to lie, we steal a lot from Leann because she does a great job putting it together for the students at Wabash.
Yeah. And I think that's something too, even if you're not able to volunteer on the day of service, there's a huge list of organizations that have shared what they need and what they're kind of about. So one thing when I've shared these on campus is people will be like, I didn't know that we had an organization that did this. I didn't know we had an organization that did that. And we have so many opportunities here in the community that whatever your special interest is, there's an organization
Right.
that would fit your passions and your interests. And I think it's really easy for us to be like, I'm too busy to add anything. I have too much stuff going on. But for your mental health and your wellness, to look out at our community and provide support, that will do so much good for you, not just the organization. It is self-fulfilling, and you can realize that you can provide a service and you can be helpful, and you're a more integrated member of our community if you get involved.
Absolutely. And if people are wanting to reach out to the Leadership Academy, how can they find you?
So yes, we have a website that's on the Crawfordsville City's website. And so there's just a subcategory of on the city webpage for MCLA. So crawfordsville.in.gov/MCLA, as well as we have our Facebook page, which is the Montgomery County Leadership Academy. You can shoot us an email at executive director at 54leadership.com email address. Hopefully we'll have an executive director again soon. And so when you ask about some places you can find volunteer opportunities, when we have that position filled, that's another opportunity that you can go talk and find out about some of these organizations that you weren't aware that were available, and they can help match you up to those opportunities.
Absolutely. And, as a teaser, we talked about the program and how it's being revamped. People can, Mayor, as we like to say, stay tuned.
We're working
on it. Stay tuned. We're working on it for that registration and more program details. So if you are listening and you heard something that sparked your interest about, wanting to be involved, you want to learn some of those leadership skills, stay tuned for that. But then if you want to volunteer, if you, have an organization that has needs, reach out and ask, provide your services, and the Leadership Academy is here to help connect you with volunteers or connect you with a volunteer opportunity, leadership skills, all great things happening.
Absolutely. And I mentioned we didn't have an executive director, but the board is still very active
Yes.
and here to help answer those questions. So if you shoot an email to that email address or go to the Facebook page or any of those places, you will get a response from someone.
And I also want to highlight too, on top of the Leadership Academy, I also often connect with two other partner organizations who are involved in the Montgomery County Day of Service, the Montgomery County Community Foundation and the United Way of Montgomery County. Both are heavily involved in our nonprofit sector, and they're also great resources. And so if you kind of send an email to the Leadership Academy, the Community Foundation, United Way, any of them can point you in those directions to get involved.
Absolutely.
And Leann, thank you for saying that, because we have not talked about all of the partners putting this day on yet. And so, as we mentioned, it's Montgomery County Leadership Academy, Wabash, because Leann's here, obviously, the Community Foundation, United Way, City of Crawfordsville, and the Chamber of Commerce, the Crawfordsville Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce.
Yes. Awesome. Well, great things happening. Looking forward to a wonderful turnout, and we've already asked for good weather. I've
and it's going to be 90 degrees.
Yeah, it's going to be a nice hot day. So stay cool, everyone.
Pick up your water bottle in the morning.
Yes. Is there anything else that either of you would like to add?
I'll just add real quick to summarize, last spring I had the chance to speak at the Southmont graduation. And what I told the students graduating was you can change the world. Mm-hmm. You literally can change the world, because the world starts right here in our little corner of the world. And I would say the same thing to the community.
Yeah.
We can change our world by showing up you can make our little piece of the world so much better, even by pulling weeds, whatever you
Right.
do.
Mhm.
It will make our corner of the world so much better. So the same challenges out there to anyone in the community, not just high school seniors.
Yeah. And Mayor, it perfectly ties back to our be here and be known.
Absolutely.
You have the opportunity to do something in our community, be known, be recognized, and make a difference.
Yes.
And I think that's something that makes our community so special.
Yeah, you can make a difference here.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, thank you all so much. Check out Yodel for our community calendar and newsfeed. You can find things happening in our community in one easy, convenient location. And let us know if you've got a topic or something you want to hear about, something that we talked about in one of our general updates, anything you're looking to hear. Reach out to us. We want to know what you want to know about. And thanks for listening. We'll see you next week. Make sure you hit the subscribe button on this podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you aren't already, follow us on Facebook at City of Crawfordsville Official, on Twitter at City of Seaville, and on Instagram at City of Crawfordsville. We hope you have a wonderful day and can't wait for you to join us next week.